Welcome to another episode of Love and Movies. I'm your host, Thomas,
And I'm also your host, Morgan.
co-host. I'm
Co-host.
co-host.
Yeah.
Co-host. I don't know why I said host, but anyway.
We're in this together.
Yes. So we just watched Fool's Paradise with
Yep.
a whole bunch of people. It stars Charlie Day, Kate Beckinsale, Adrian Brody,
Ken Jeong,
Ken
Jason
Jeong,
Sudeikis, Ray
Jason
Liotta,
Segura. I mean, the cast is huge.
yeah. This movie's not in theaters. We watched it on Hulu.
It was in theaters like a couple months prior, but it didn't seem like it lasted very long.
So what we're gonna try to do is hopefully we can do like a twice a week podcast. One will be on a movie that is in the theaters, so like a new release. And the other one will be something that is available streaming somewhere. Like I said, Fool's Paradise just came out in 2023, a couple months ago. But we could do any movie, older movies, whatever. So kind of gives us a little bit more to talk to you guys about. So like we said, Fool's Paradise came out a couple months ago.
It's May actually.
Okay, May. So more than a couple months ago.
Yeah.
It is a comedy. Charlie Day, actually I looked it up. Charlie Day wrote it and this was a movie that I guess I did not know about this movie. I didn't see trailers or anything when it came out last year. So I'm assuming that you saw the trailers and stuff.
My arm on my chair. I don't know if you can see it. Sorry, it's distracting me.
Yeah. Or if you can hear it, since some people might be listening to the audio.
Yeah, sorry folks. I'll try and
not bump the arm on your chair.
Yeah, I need a new chair. That's what it is.
But yeah, you go ahead and talk about this movie because you're the one that found it.
So I saw a trailer for this. I don't know when or where, and I thought it looked amazing because I knew it was a satire movie. Essentially, it sort of has the premises. Essentially, someone who has a mental illness, like a severe mental illness. He's mute, doesn't speak. They think he has like the mind of a 5-year-old. He gets mistaken for a celebrity. Not mistaken, but like a lookalike of a celebrity. And they
like
bring him into
doppelganger, like dead ringer. Yeah.
So they bring him in to essentially fill in for this role because the movie, the celebrity, the actor is just being obtuse, being a dick. And so they're like, all right, well, this is your, guy who looks exactly like you, we don't really need you, sort of thing.
Yeah, we're gonna put this guy in the movie.
Yeah.
But like it was only supposed to be for the day, which again, before we get any further, as you guys know, all of our podcast episodes are full of spoilers. So if you have not seen this movie, get ready for spoilers.
Yeah. So essentially it's a huge satire because it's sort of like they're making fun of the movie industry, they make fun of everything within it, the agents and all of these crazy aspects to it, the actors, the directors, every part of it.
Yeah.
And so essentially it's this big spoof movie. And when I saw the trailer, I wanted to see it because, I enjoy Charlie Day. I'm a huge Ken Jeong fan. Like, I love everything he's been in. I think he's a fantastic comedian and actor. I mean, like, all of the actors in it, like, I enjoy, but Charlie Day, I really enjoy. Jason Sudeikis, who's got, I would say, like, a fairly decent part in it. Like, I enjoy him. Even has Jason Bateman in it as a minor part, and I think Jason Bateman's a funny guy as well. So
And
like
I
it
feel
was just
like all the like there's so many like little cameos.
yeah
Like I feel like it's one of those like Charlie Day, I feel like probably has to know, like, be like friends with some of these people, and he's like, "Hey, doing this movie, like, come do this part for me, real like, you know." And they're like, "Oh yeah, this is funny, like, let's do it." Like, I
yeah
feel like that had to have been the situation with some of these actors that were cast.
yeah. And honestly, like I thought it was it was funny. Like if you like satire movies that are abstract and don't really like um cave into that like just like in your face, like it's easy to tell that it's satirical, this is a movie that you should see because it's one of those movies where you're sort of like second guessing sort of like what's going to happen and what's not going to happen. But I just thought the premise was really good. Like, so we'll talk about it. I
And you did have me watch the trailer
did.
before we watched it. Like I said, I had not heard about this movie. Watched the trailer, I was like, okay, this looks like it's gonna be funny. Um there were points when I laughed, and like there were times I'm like, what? And not in a like, what the fuck, but more of a what? What?
Yeah, it sort of made you question reality, sort of thing. Like you
Yeah.
didn't really know what was going on. Yeah,
Um because it's not like, I guess, the traditional comedy. Um
the
it was
traditional satire. Yeah.
yeah, it was good. I feel like it could have been better.
Yeah, I feel like there's probably like the movie's only an hour and a half long, um, and I feel like they probably cut it down too much because there's probably some pieces that were left out that they should have left in during the editing process.
Yeah.
But who knows? Like maybe the theater, movie production, whoever owned the rights was just like, oh, we can't have that, and then like scrapped a whole bunch of stuff, and even though they're probably like, no, we need it, and you can't have it without it
Yeah.
spoiling this or making this seem weird or whatever.
Or on the flip side, they could have been like, "No, this is exactly what we want." Like,
Yeah,
who knows?
yeah,
Um, the the relationship between Ken Jeong's character and Charlie Day, like, because Charlie Day is the main character. Um, you know, him being like mute the whole time was kind of cool because I'm like, okay, are they going to dive into why he doesn't speak? Is he just gonna like randomly say something one day? Like, what's the deal with him not speaking? Um, and of course, part of like the comedy for me was like nobody cared that he wasn't speaking because everybody else was kind of self-absorbed, and that's part of the satirical part of like the entertainment industry is everybody is all just worried about themselves. um but like the relationship between Ken Jeong and Charlie Day was kind of funny, because I feel like they're really the main characters, I feel like,
Mhm.
in this movie. Um and even then I'm like, and like what's going on, like I'm just like kind of questioning like the entire movie. And then the ending, which like I don't want to jump too far ahead, the ending I'm like, that's it? That's how we're ending it? Like, what?
Yeah, so essentially, Charlie Day plays two characters. He plays Latte Pronto and uh, this guy Sir
The
Tommy,
doppelganger.
the actual actor who was an
Yeah.
actor. He was a method actor at that, and we'll make sure we all understand that. Um, and he took his method acting a little bit too far, and essentially ends up
Dying.
asphyxiating himself.
Yeah.
uh, so
Like
if you don't know what that is, that's a big word.
they're shooting a movie, it's a western, and he's playing Billy the Kid. So he's all like in his like Wild West, Old West, like method acting mode. Um and like when you really only like see like the Charlie Day that speaks, the actor, like really in one scene, and he's talking with the Old West accent, and he's got a bottle of something, probably
Bourbon.
bourbon or
Yeah.
whiskey or something. And he's just like what you would think that stereotypical Old West character is that we see from like old school Wild West movies. So you don't really get to know who that person is because the next you hear, he's
He's
dead.
dead. Yeah, he's dead. And so Ray Liotta is in it very briefly, and may he rest in peace. I think Ray Liotta is fantastic. But he was in it very briefly as the producer for the movie that they were filming. And of course, like he finds Charlie Day or Latte Pronto, but at first he's an unnamed character. Like he doesn't
Yeah,
have an actual name. They just bring him in. And the reason why he's
because he
Latte
doesn't he
Pronto,
doesn't talk, so nobody
yeah.
knows his name.
Well, the reason why he's Latte Pronto is because uh, Ray Liotta's character keeps saying latte pronto, like I want a latte now, sort of thing.
Yeah,
And then Ken Jeong's character happens to be on set and hears this, and he's thinking he's talking to uh, Charlie Day's mute character. So in turn, he becomes Latte Pronto.
yeah. So he just assumes that's the guy's name, and of course he doesn't speak, so he can't contradict him and say, "No, that's not my name. My name is John
Yeah.
Smith or whatever."
Yeah. And go ahead.
No, I mean, which like I think is just funny because like I feel like in any other like industry, world, or whatever, like this is something that legit could only happen in the entertainment industry, I feel, and I feel like that's why they could do this satire on it. Because I feel like if any other industry, like, and you have somebody that doesn't talk, and you give them a pen and paper, you give like you find some way to communicate with this person, even if it's like, okay, let me guess your name, is it Alan, is it Bob, is it whatever, like,
Yeah, you'd be doing some sort of
yeah,
exercise to figure out what's going on. And obviously, like that's the whole thing, is that everyone they're showing is extremely absorbed in their own,
world,
their own world.
yeah,
And so essentially, they don't care that, they don't care what his name is. They don't care that he hasn't spoken, that he can't speak. They're just like, oh, we need to finish this movie. We're
yeah,
putting him in the role. Well, he doesn't speak. Well, he doesn't have to say anything, and that's what they
yeah,
do. They're like, and they even make fun of it because Ray Liotta says literally, he's like, don't do anything, don't do nothing, and he's like, there's numerous actors who
get away
made
with
a
that,
career, made a career out of doing nothing, and it's funny because the jabs and the pokes and the prods at the movie industry are very, 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 very on point and very, very
right,
like, I think they're hysterical. I laughed.
yeah,
Obviously, me and Morgan are not in the entertainment industry. Knock on wood, maybe one day someone might be like, "Hey, do you want to act in something?" Or
yeah.
I'd be like, "Oh, I don't want to act, but I'll sit in the background," and that'd be a.
Or, hey, you guys podcast is awesome, you should like review movies for a profession, something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I mean, yes, it's funny.
But it's also sad. I think it's sad in a way.
I mean, I'm just I
You're
was
still
left
thinking
with
about
a
it.
I was left with a meh kind of feeling with this movie.
Well, see, like, I feel like that's a difference between me and you, though. Like, you sort of like watching movies for more of an entertainment value to sort of like step out of the moment, and where
Yes.
like I tend to watch movies for all purposes, right? Like I don't just look at the movie as like one aspect. Like I look at it as a all encompassing thing. Like I look at the little details, I look at the big details, and I sort of like try and I try and put like a little bit of existentialism on the movie, you know, like put a little bit more into the movie and like what it actually represents as like a human trait and emotion. If that
I
made
mean,
any sense.
I mean, well, you're making it sound like I'm like this one-sided. I
No,
only want
no,
to watch
like
movies for the fun of it, which like is not the
well,
case.
but like I feel like in certain aspects though, like when you thought it was a comedy, you're just sort of like, okay, it's a comedy. Where like when I see comedies, I look at like the the deeper meaning sort of thing. Like I don't do that for all movies. Like, you know, when I watch, you know, Die Hard, I'm not like, you know, like, oh, this is a movie about world hunger, and it's not. It's just a straight up shoot 'em up, you know, sort of thing. Like that's yeah. But in this circumstance, like I knew it was going to be more. Like I didn't just, you know.
But see, also that's the difference. Like literally, all I saw was a trailer, and 2 seconds later, we're watching the movie.
Yeah. But I didn't like research the movie or anything. And you act like I'm doing this major research. I just like when I watched the trailer, like I just knew that based off of the trailer, it was going to be more. Like, you know,
Yeah.
maybe I should have said something like, "Hey, this is a little bit more than what you think it is. Don't just look at the bigger picture. Don't look at the shiny brightness." No. Anyway,
I don't know, because I still feel like you're like saying I don't think
that's not
deeper into a movie, and
that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm implying. I'm saying like I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I'm not saying anything anymore. What is it? Uh, Projecting Lante Pronto.
yeah, you don't want to
No,
put your foot in your mouth anymore.
yeah. I mean, no. Like I'm just trying to say like there's some movies where it's obvious like it's a bigger picture movie, right? Like
Yes,
there's a deeper hidden meaning sort of
yes,
thing. And I'm not saying that like when we watch those movies, it's not like you're not trying to look for it or analyze it or figure out what the bigger meaning is. But for the most part, when you watch movies, it's not like your brain automatically goes into what's the bigger picture aspect, right? Where I watch movies and I'm depending on the style of movie or what I know based off of the trailer, I might automatically be in that mindset. Like, what do they mean by that? What did that mean? What it, you know, like, okay, I overanalyze. That's what I'm saying. I'm an overanalytical person. That's it there.
yes, yes,
So
and
that's the
just
real story.
just leave it at that
Yes.
before you put your foot in your mouth more. How about
Listen,
that?
I will happily cut up the tomatoes tonight for dinner
Okay.
to make up
Side
for
note.
the
Side note. Thomas is more of a cook, more of a chef than I am. But just with our schedules, I end up cooking more. And one thing, for some reason, I suck at is cutting tomatoes. So that's why Thomas is saying that, is
yeah.
because he knows, like, that's the one thing for some reason I screw up cooking when I cut up tomatoes. Like, it's a weird thing. Like, I feel like everybody's now going to make fun of me for that. So, like, oh well.
Well, they're gonna send you YouTube videos on how to cut tomatoes.
No, I'm just going to have you cut them.
That's fine. We're gonna have
Yeah.
tacos tonight. That's why we're cutting up
Yeah.
tomatoes. So anyway,
But yeah, I mean, as far as the movie, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's deeper meaning and all that, but like, I feel like also there's movies can just sometimes they're weird just for the sake of being weird,
yes, I agree.
and entertainment is in that.
Yeah,
And I feel like this was one of those kind of movies that is just kooky, and that is the purpose of it, is to be kooky and make fun in like a more, I don't know if intellectual is the right word, but like a more intellectual way of something, which in this case was the entertainment industry.
Yeah, I mean, like overall, it's hard to say because let's go actually into the movie. We talked about how Latte Pronto gets into acting, but the thing is that every character, every person that he meets, essentially starts dragging him around. Ken Jeong's character, which his name is really he's like a main character, and he's
It's
not even
Lenny
shown
the
up.
publicist. I
That's
got
what I
it. I
thought it
got
was.
IMDb up.
Yeah, so it's Lenny the publicist, and he's trying to find an actor to be a publicist for, but he is only doing it because he wants to break into the business and be this big shot somebody, right? Then he meets Christina Dwar, who was on the film of the movie that he gets casted in, um, who's played by Kate Beckinsale. He goes to this party where Chad Lux, who's played by Adrian Brody, is hosting it. He gets dragged there by him, and it's just showing the chaos and the pretty much the um, actors and things can do whatever they want because he's driving a very very nice uh, 500 GT Mustang, bright red with white pinstripes, um,
Right,
racing
racing
stripes,
stripes, not pinstripes. Yeah.
racing stripes. I meant to say racing stripes. Beautiful, beautiful car, by the way. Whoever owns that car is a lucky, lucky bastard.
Yeah.
Or Bastet. I don't know what the female version of bastard is.
But Adrian Brody is like driving the car. He's got an open bottle, drinking. He's got a gun and he's shooting it, sticking it out the window and shooting it in the air. And it's like, okay, in the real world, this person would be getting pulled over.
Well, so, and then also, like, while he's driving, he makes this very subtle, casual remark that, shoot, what is his name? He played in Rebel Without a Cause.
James Dean.
He's like, James Dean died there as they're turning this corner. It's very subtle, very like under the breath moment. And
he's making this reckless turn as well.
Yeah, and it's just like, there's a lot of subtlety to things and a lot of like, you have to pay attention because you're going to miss these very, like I said, hard pokes at the entertainment industry where like this reckless behavior, this like, self-ego driven behavior, just all about themselves is just on full effect.
Yeah.
So they go to his party, where he meets Christina Dwar. She essentially saves him because he's drowning in a pool. She pulls him out, and they go back to, it looks like her place or like a side place. I mean, there's I'm
assuming it's her place.
Yes.
So like Charlie Day Latte Pronto is like got the dancing bug. Wipeout comes on and he is like just a dancing fool. He is having a time of his life dancing. But he ends up falling in the pool. Nobody notices, nobody cares, because again, very self-absorbed world that they're portraying. And then, Christina Dior, however they're pronouncing it. Basic. First of all, the name is a parody on Christian Dior, like,
yeah,
and it's Christiana Dior. Like, come on now. But like she jumps in, saves his life. They go back to her place. He's, wrapped in a blanket and she is playing some kind of song and she's got this beautiful, head towel wrap to dry her hair and she's holding this like huge Flemish rabbit that's white and she's got this white silk like robe and it's like literally something out of like an old movie that you would, think. So again, making fun of the industry and just decides that, he should make love to her. Like she takes off the robe and is like, make love to me. And it's like, like, what the... Which again, making fun of the entertainment industry, how, actors and actresses like kind of just jump into these relationships and, you know, don't take the time to really get to know them. And that's how it is portrayed in the tabloids and all that sometimes.
And then you have the other thing is like she's making all these assumptions and all these things
Yeah.
about Lante without actually talking to him, because of obviously Lante hasn't said anything throughout this whole entire point. He just goes with the flow. He's just this. He doesn't really understand what's going on, but he just sort of like goes with it. Doesn't really question anything. Just keeps moving forward.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I think we should get married. Well, they just had slept together, less than, who knows, 30 minutes.
Yeah, like they're still laying in bed together.
Yeah.
And she says, let's get married.
And so, of course, they get married and he's sort of being dragged and he's like, what the hell is going on? Like, I have no idea, which is weird because he doesn't say yes. You can't say yes. So how is that legal? Because, the priest asks you, do you take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife?
I guess the clergy in Hollywood just assume, They
just paid him off, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you have that instance, and then he gets shoved into this back of this limo where Ken Jeong just happens to be Lenny, and he's talking about it like, hey, great job getting married. We're
this is going to be great for your career.
Great for your career. And, not like, hey, congratulations on getting married. I'm so happy for you. What are you guys going to, crazy stuff. And then they go on a honeymoon to like some sort of islands. And they're in this plane, and it's obviously like, because of who they are, they're flying in this major thunderstorm, rainstorm, and obviously they shouldn't be flying. And she even asked the pilot, "Is like, should you even be out here right now?" And he's like, "Oh no,
but I will for you."
It's you, yeah, because it's you, and you're just like, okay, like really.
Let's not worry about safety at all. A huge celebrity has just asked you to fly in a plane in a major, like, thunder, lightning, downpour, storm. Like, oh, yeah, no problem.
But, I mean, again, in the same instance, how many actors and actresses have passed away because they were flying in conditions they shouldn't have been flying in? Plane goes down for whatever reason because, someone didn't do a check because of whoever was, in the plane. I mean,
yeah.
So it's sort of like that, like, just because of who you are, like, you should always take consideration into what you're actually doing, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But so it jumps like right to they're at this like, no, she's like, oh no, I don't even think they say anything. All of a sudden they're at like an adoption agency. Oh no, she does say something like, I think we should adopt a kid or something like that.
I didn't even hear them say that, so I don't even remember them saying that. I just remember the next scene was they're at this adoption agency, and it's not like a typical, it's like adopting, you could tell it's like children that are not from the United States. They're from other countries, maybe third world countries that, definitely need a better home. And like they're looking through a photo and like points to one and she goes, no. Like, what is he even doing there? She's just gonna adopt the kids. And
so it sounded like they were only supposed to adopt one, but then they show cutscene and there's 3 of them. And Latte is essentially like trying to take care of them. And she's on the phone and she's like, honey, don't bother with that. That's what the nannies are for, or something like that, to that degree. And obviously that was...
So again, making fun of, I feel like it kind of like the Angelina Jolie type actress.
That's pretty much what it is, yeah.
And hey, we don't know what happens in their homes in real life. We don't know how. I mean, obviously, there's probably nannies. It'd be kind of silly not to have nannies, but we don't know.
Yeah, I mean the circumstances and everything about that.
But yeah, it's definitely making fun of that kind of situation, lifestyle, whatever you want to call it. Yep. But yeah, it kind of shows that fast-paced, self-absorbed life.
Yep. And so the movie like just is it's pretty much like once Charlie Day Lonzo Bronte becomes an actor, it's just this hardcore like roller coaster, like hard up, hard down. Because at this point, like the movie starts, he starts going downhill.
Yeah,
Um,
because they find a new movie for him. They find Mosquito Boy,
yeah,
which is a lesser known superhero.
yeah,
Um, and like they put him in like this costume and this prosthetic like mosquito nose and all this, and of course the movie tanks.
yeah. But you're also jumping because like they have this whole scene where they introduce the director, who's played by Jason Sudeikis, and who's off the charts, like
Yeah.
clinically off the charts. Like he's like they walk into this house, he's like, "Oh, hey, like take off your shoes," and it's this, woman who we have no idea who the hell she is. She's just a woman there. So he's like, "Okay." So he takes off his shoes. They walk in, and she's all like, "Oh, this director has been, you know, done this," and his name is Lex Tanner, who's the director, who Jason Sudeikis plays. And it's like, oh, he's got, this huge collection of artwork and all this, and he donates money. And so she brings him out to this pool and sits him there, not even underneath an umbrella, just in the middle of the sun, Los Angeles sun. And there's a pitcher of water. And he goes to pour himself some water. It's empty.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, why would you have that? Again, it's showing he's not really there to enjoy himself and have a good time or to be thought of. He's just there to, whatever reason why.
And I feel like like in that particular part, like I feel like it was like almost like a Charlie Chaplin homage,
Yeah.
because Charlie Chaplin, like famous for like his silent movies. And Charlie Day does do this like really cute scene,
Mhm.
obviously not speaking, where like the picture can bounce. So he's like, dropping it, it bounces up, dropping it, it bounces up. And then he takes the glass, because there's a glass right there by the pitcher, thinking, oh, that'll drop and bounce up, and drops it in its glass. So like
Mhm.
I thought that was kind of cute, because like I couldn't help but wonder, like, is he kind of like doing that as like a Charlie Chaplin homage, or to like the homage to like the great silent film actors? Because it's not I mean, silent movie making, like to be a good actor, I mean, that's still like a talent to do.
Mhm.
So I mean, I kind of wonder if that was little bit was
I feel like it was more Buster Keaton because Buster Keaton was more the uh prop person who would do stuff like that because he did like um the forks and the rolls and the kicks and things like that.
yeah, that's what's
Yeah,
like,
so yeah,
any of those great silent movie actors.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, um, of course, like Jason Sudeikis' character Lex Tanner, like comes up and is the over the top, director of like, you know, I want to do this, and here, let me show you my house, and oh, like look at all this cool stuff I got, and doing,
Priceless and yeah.
yeah, priceless artwork, and oh look, like here's a sword that Prince Harry gave me. I don't know much about it because really wasn't listening. Like, it's just like the whole movie is making fun of the industry. Like, I don't need like that's that's basically the movie.
Yeah, that's the movie.
Yeah.
So but it's very fast paced and so they go into this, he of course gets the movie. And then is it prior to that? No, at like later that night, he ends up going to a like party for some sort of magazine cover, and his best friend Chad Lux happens to be there. Not his actual best friend. Chad Lux just shows up everywhere, and he drags again Latte Pronto out, doing the same crazy thing in the car, drinking, shooting, and then they end up going behind in this alleyway or parking garage, and the paparazzi sees him, and so Chad attacks the paparazzi, and Charlie tries to stop him. Um, and he ends up getting arrested. And so because of that, actually, we're skipping a part, but that's fine. We'll
Yeah,
let some
because I mean, we don't
spoilers
want to
be.
say the entire movie. Like, we don't want to be like, here's the
Yeah,
entire movie,
yeah.
because
So
we want to give people
essentially,
a chance to see it.
yeah. So essentially, like a lot of stuff happens. He gets arrested. His wife does what a typical uh, actress wife does and leaves him. Takes the three kids. Um, goes to her. No, she goes to like France or something. Who knows?
Yeah,
Um, and then he just again it's this decline keeps declining. Um,
bad movie, getting bad
bad movie,
press, like
bad press.
the typical stuff that we see in like the downward fall of any Hollywood celebrity. And then um there's even like a funny scene where Lenny the publicist, Ken Jeong's character, is trying to get him work and ends up doing what he calls it erotica, but it's a pornography. Like, it's a porn movie. Um which, like, that was fun, but I mean, like, I feel like that was like the low.
Yeah.
um and then there, yeah, it's just
Yeah, I mean,
um
like, so after that though, like, you have this sort of like it's sort of like teeters out a little bit, and then you have this sort of heartbreaking scene because um once they come out of the shoot for the porno, um Ken Jeong's character he's hooked on these like energy drinks. Like he looks like he lives off of them.
yeah.
And
And well, I guess we should also say, like, once they realized that it was a pornography movie, like, I guess Ken Jeong's character wasn't gonna let Latte Pronto actually participate,
yeah,
so he kind of, quote unquote, took the bullet. So after living off energy drinks and you've just done this strenuous, we'll just leave it that strenuous scene, quote unquote.
strenuous
Um,
activity.
yeah. They're out in the parking lot and he basically has a heart attack and collapses.
Yeah.
Um, so of course, he's rushed to the hospital and all this and that. And in like a typical like twist of fate, in a movie, Latte Pronto is sitting at his bedside waiting for him to wake up, but the doctor brings him out. And you think the doctor's gonna say, here's his chances, or he's gonna never recover, or whatever the case is. But the doctor just wants to take selfies.
Yeah.
By the time that Latte Pronto goes back into the room, the nurses have actually moved him to another room, and there's somebody in that, in a typical like hospital, there's like those little curtain partitions. So there's somebody else in that room who's actually dead, and he's being taken to the morgue to be cremated. So when Latte Pronto comes back in, the nurse assumes that he's there for the guy that passed away, and she says, "Oh, I'm sorry, he's passed and he's being taken to the crematorium." So Latte Pronto leaves thinking that Lenny's dead. Lenny wakes up thinking that Latte Pronto just left,
Just hates him. Just hates
just
him.
has given up on him and walked away. So yeah, I mean, like, you have that, and then they kind of go their separate ways because, one thinks one's dead and the other one thinks the other one doesn't care. And they get, I think that's when Charlie Day's like, the Latte Pronto character gets like starts getting a comeback because he's a hero and he's saved.
Yeah, he saved Common's life.
Oh yeah,
You sort of skipped over the
I skipped.
conspiracy theory.
Yeah, well, like, I feel like we're saying like the entire movie, and I
Yeah,
don't
pretty
really,
much.
I really don't want to say that. But yeah, Common has a character which is basically a parody of Wesley Snipes, because he's an
Believe.
action character, and he talks about what he used to do, and they show the posters, and they are straight up parodies of Blade movies. Like,
It's great.
you can't deny it. They are
Very
straight parodies. There's
well.
no
His character name's the Dagger. Come on.
Yeah.
Blade, Dagger. Come on.
Yeah.
It's
But
hard.
still,
It's hard.
I mean, like, even if you were like giving it a benefit of the doubt with the name, you look at the poster and it's like, oh no, that's the Blade movie poster. You just put Common in it instead of Wesley Snipes. But Latte Pronto ends up rescuing, like, saving
his life.
Common's life. So now he's a hero. He gets a key to the city, and of course, his career's now back on track. And I feel. Oh wait, did you want to say something?
No. I'm just. Yeah. You keep going on, and I'm just just listening. And,
yeah.
For someone who doesn't want to.
I know.
Plot.
We keep talking about the whole movie. But yeah, it just, like, that roller coaster of you're up, you're down, and now he's up again. And of course, in a typical movie, Ken Jeong and Charlie Day find each other again, and you think all's gonna be right with the world, and they walk off and, like, have a coffee, and it's like, that's it?
Well, you don't want to spoil the end? Spoil the end?
No.
Okay, so ignore what she said. The ending, you have to watch the ending for yourself, because it's a heartfelt, warming scene, as well as a Fool's Paradise, because the name of the movie is Fool's Paradise, where something happens at the end where you're like, what?
Yeah.
So you have to watch it just to see the end. We won't spoil the end for you.
Yeah.
We'll just say you have to watch it. And then you can tell us how much of a jerks we are in the comment section for not telling you what happens, because it's not a great ending. It's not a bad ending. It's
You're just like, that's it?
It's just that. So in this circumstance, we will rate the movie. I think it's good, but I'm gonna give it a low score of a 7, just because I feel like, again, the ending. Like, I feel like the ending could have been better. I agree with Morgan. The ending was just meh. I feel like they could have done so much more.
Yeah.
They could have done so much more with the movie in general. Like, there were so many avenues that they could have taken it. And of course, it was a satire movie. So, like, it makes sense the direction that they went. But as a satire movie, it could have still been.
It could have been better.
Better, yeah. Like, it could have had more of a plot, more of a, oomph, or more, like, pull to it.
Backstory, something.
Yeah, backstory, yeah. So that's why I give it a 7. What do you say?
5.
Ooh, low. Is that the lowest we've given a movie? I don't even know. We should probably keep track. We should write it down.
Yeah, we should start writing it down. We'll go back to the other episodes and write it down and have a spreadsheet or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if that's the lowest I've scored.
I feel like it's pretty close.
It might be the lowest I've scored, or one of the lowest I've scored.
What did you score The Conjuring 2?
I don't know.
I feel like The Conjuring 2 was pretty low for you too. Anyway.
Yeah, we'll go back and we'll write them down.
Yeah. So with that being said, we also talk about it as a romantic advisement, what we took away from it as a couple to improve. No, you're sort of
when you said romantic, I'm like,
I don't know.
What?
Well, they got married.
Oh yeah, because, like, that marriage is a good marriage to, like, get some, like, words of wisdom.
What not to
from.
do? No,
yeah,
that's what not to do.
Yeah, like
it doesn't have to be like.
That's what you take. That's what you take out of the movie. This is what not to do.
Exactly. Like, you can do it as that aspect.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, we should do this. We could be like, don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, any. Okay,
I don't. We've been together for 5 years, so it's not like we're rushing into anything.
Yeah, that I feel like now you're getting into a whole other thing that we don't really want to jump into. Um, but I mean, I feel like the only takeaway that I can take as far as in the terms of our relationship, and it's not even like about the movie.
Hmm.
Um, this is another prime example of compromise and things that you experience and try that you wouldn't try on your own,
Hmm.
and you try because it's something that your significant other wants to watch or try, or um and you give it a shot, you see what happens. Like, I
Yeah.
had this is not a movie I would have watched. Like, if it came through, like, when I'm searching on a streaming service, like I said, we watched this on Hulu. um this is not a movie I'd be like, okay, play, let me watch it. This is totally your type of movie. You like Charlie Day. I can take him or
Yeah.
leave him. um
I like Jason
some
Sudeikis. I like
I
Ken
do now. I mean,
Jeong.
I do like the rest of the cast. I mean, I'm not gonna lie about that. Like, the rest of the cast was a great cast. Just the comedy from Charlie Day, I've never been like a huge fan of. I can take it or leave it.
Mm.
Um, so this was a prime example of, you learn new things, you experience new things, you see new things that you wouldn't see on your own because the person you care about is interested in them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's my takeaway. Besides the do not do this in a relationship.
Well,
So what's yours?
I'm gonna take it a little step further. I'm gonna be, you know,
Are you gonna be like retrospective and
yeah,
philosophical and deep
yes,
thinking?
yes, because I feel like that will do it justice, right?
Okay.
So at the very beginning, I was saying like the interactions of this movie is very, very sad, right? Because you have this character who can't really speak, and no one actually tries to um, understand him or like figure out what is wrong with him because they're so absorbed and self-absorbed in their own life, right? And you can clearly tell that he is completely uncomfortable in these situations, that he is frightened because there's numerous scenes where like his facial reactions, like you can see like the pure abject terror on his face because he has no idea, because like
Like,
one of the
he
very
doesn't
first
want to
scenes,
do this or that or whatever.
yeah, yeah, because one of the very first scenes is with Adrian Brody, where he's playing this character Black Bart in the movie that they're filming, and he's physically assaulting um, Latte Pronto in the movie. Like, it's supposed to be a movie, but Latte Pronto doesn't know that. He has no idea what the hell's going on. He's just there,
He
you
doesn't
know,
understand acting.
because he doesn't. Yeah, like that was the very first premises, and I think we made that loud and clear. Like, he has the mind of a 5-year old. Like, he doesn't know 100% what's going on, and so you get into this. He gets dragged into these events where no one actually talking to him. They're more like talking at him, and they're not like trying to understand him as a human being or him as a anything. He's just a body, a meat bag. So to me, like, I take that and I think, wow, I don't want to do that to another human being ever. Like, there's so many people out there that you don't know what they're going through, that you don't know what may be going on in their lives. And there's so many surface level interactions that we do. And I know like it's supposed to be a relationship thing, but at the same time frame, like, you get to be in a 5-year relationship and you think like, oh, I know what's going on. She's upset for X, Y, and Z, or he's upset for X, Y, and Z. So I'll do this, where you might be right, but you could be wrong. So my goal from here on out is to not try and just assume, and actually like communicate, like 100% communicate, being like, like, hey, what's going on? Do you want to talk about it? Or in a worst case scenario, or like, hey, did you have a good day? Like, hey, tell me what was good about it, or whatever aspect, because it's so easy to get into this. You know what's going on with your partner. You know what's happening, where reality is you might not, or with another human being. Like with your coworkers. Like I think I work with my coworkers, and a lot of those interactions seem you know very genuine, and but it still could be surface level. Like you need to not allow things to be surface level, especially if you have interactions with people that have been years in the making. Don't be that person who's just absorbed in your own way. Don't be absorbed in your own life. Don't let your own life, you know, be the deciding factor on whether or not you get to know a person or talk to a person, or like asking hard questions on like, hey, what's going on with your life? Like, do you want to talk about it if someone's having a difficult day, or if they're having a great day or excited about something, like figuring that out. So that's my goal, because that's what I took from this movie, is that people are so wrapped up in themselves that they don't stop and look at the world around.
I think that's a perfect way to end the show. I mean, I don't know any better way to say it than what you said.
Bueno.
So that was good. That was a takeaway that I probably never would have seen in this movie. So it's another thing of, you see things through a different set of eyes, and it can be eye-opening. So I like what you said. Good thought process.
Thank you. Tinky. So with that, we pretty much close to our hour. So thank you for listening, like always, and I'll let Morgan handle the rest.
Yep. We greatly appreciate you guys. As always, hit like and subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening to your podcast. We greatly appreciate a review as well. It helps promote us. You can catch us on Facebook. You can catch us on Instagram, and of course, like I just said, to YouTube. You can also email us at loveandmoviespod@gmail.com. And we will see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Have a great day.